Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channels. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm here with my husband, Jens Pateu. And we're here to talk about something very special that we have going on. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about Three-Eye Atlas, an interstellar object that is now in our solar system and is affecting us energetically. There's a lot of debate around it. So Jens and I are going to get into the astrology and our personal analysis with our conspiracy, spiritual, esoteric expertise. Jensi, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. The sun just started shining, so it looks like it's going to be a nice rest of the day.
Yes, we are in Belgium right now where it can be very hit and miss with the weather, but we've got the sun shining. It's a beautiful day. And I'm feeling really excited about getting into this topic with you. I feel like there's so much we can say about it. And maybe we're going to have to do other videos about it as well. You know, this object is now in our solar system. It's very close to Mars as we're filming this video in October of 2025. We're going to have, as we're going to talk about perihelion, so when it's closest to sun, also in October, many different events as we're going to break down. So I feel like this is an ongoing subject as it's traveling through our solar system. So just a little overview. We're going to go over some basic info about Three-Eye Atlas. Jens is going to share his analysis. I'm going to share my analysis and astrological perspective on it. And we're also going to share what we both received doing meditations on Three-Eye Atlas. Very, very interesting. So before we get into all that, please remember, you guys, to like, share, subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate if you leave a comment below because that can help with our channel's growth as independent sharers of information. And also very happy for Jens. Congratulations, because recently he just launched his new 14 days to a higher vibration course. And you've been making quite a few sales with it already, getting great testimonials. Do you want to talk about, and I feel like this ties into Three-Eye Atlas and the need for us to detoxify and raise our vibration. Do you want to talk a little bit about your new course?
Yeah, I'll just share. It's very important because I noticed that a lot of awake people, we of course are aware of a lot of information, sometimes a lot of fear-based information, and it's so important in these times to really take care of your vibration, your energy, your vibration. Um, so that's why I created this course, because I really started, driving more when we as conspiracy theorists, as awake people, as aware people who know what's going on, and we have a tendency to look outside, look at the news, look outside, but we also need to take care of our inner world, our energy, who we are. And that's why I designed this course for it. It's full of meditations, full of techniques that I use to get balanced, to get grounding. You'll just feel better. In my opinion, I just feel better when I do it. And I'm more balanced and I can handle, the negativity sometimes in the news. I can handle it better. We need to have that base of love and light and supporting our energy system. We need to have that in us, and this courses provide you exactly that, based on my own 20 years of experience in doing them.
Yeah, and as I've said before, in the past couple of weeks since you've launched the course, I'm so proud of you at not just your knowledge of spirituality and how to raise your vibration, and you really walk your talk. I always say that, but your production level has gotten to a whole next rank within the past year. You've been studying filmmaking, photography, and so the production value of the course is also really awesome too. So congratulations, Yanzi. We are all very proud of you. And raising our vibration, it's going to tie into this Three-Eye Atlas topic as we're going to get into. So let's go over just some really basic information on what the heck is Three-Eye Atlas. Okay, so this is an interstellar object that is not from our solar system. It is from very far away, and we don't know exactly what this is at the moment. It could be a comet, it could be a craft, it could be something completely different. Yanzi, what's your initial just feel on what is this?
Well, my feel is what I felt during the meditation, but let me first, preface it a little bit.
Mhm.
Because there's many levels to it, and we're going to go deeper, both you and me, in the show about this. But well, let me first start as we're going to go deeper into that subject.
Mhm.
I have no fear-based perspective on this, by which I mean there's some sources out there saying it's a negative thing. And
Right.
the one even before I tuned into it, that my first reaction was, and I always follow my gut in this, was like, okay, this doesn't feel fear based to me. Um, so like you said, Mick, like you said, it's actually an what did you call it again? I would call it a comet, but it's not
Interstellar.
a
It
interstellar object.
A
Yeah,
comet, a craft, you know.
yeah, it's an interstellar object, and let me
Yeah.
share here. Um, what is interesting is that what I feel is that this is a natural part of the universe. This is a
Mhm.
natural part of the Milky Way. Whether it is, whatever it is, I feel it's a natural part of the universe, and it's an interstellar object. And as you can see here, this fun. I found a very interesting animation that I'm going to bring up on stage here, and I can't bring it up. Maybe I'm not hosting it. I
Just right now. Here.
Yeah, so this one here, so you see here, this is the trajectory. I'm gonna enlarge it a bit. The trajectory of Three Eye Atlas. So you see it's coming in to our solar system, and it's gonna come very close to Mars. And I'm sure Meg will talk about the astrological significance of that in a bit. And then
Mhm.
it will come very close to Jupiter as it leaves our solar system. So it's an interstellar object in the sense that um, it travels through the Milky Way, and this is its calculated trajectory through the Milky Way. So the red arrows is the solar system, and the yellow arrows. Sorry, the yellow arrows is the solar system, and the red arrows is Three Eye Atlas. So it does its own round, like our Milky Way does, like our solar system does, through the solar system. Now, what I said, it's a natural thing, is that like interstellar objects or comets, and some comets or some asteroids are interstellar and some are orbiting our sun. So in the case of Triae Atlas, it's not orbiting our sun. So it's not part of the solar system. So I'm sure you're going to go into the astrological significance of that too. And some comets are part of our solar system. So for example, and I was as a kid, I love this stuff. I love talking about this stuff. So sorry guys if I'm nerding out a little bit, but that's what I did as
No,
a
we
kid.
love it.
As
Please
a kid,
nerd out.
yeah, as a kid, I loved, talking about, I knew I could say all as a kid, as a 10-year-old, I could say all the moons of Jupiter. I knew them all by head, all that stuff. So I love to nerd out on this stuff because it's about space. So it's actually it's not a regular occurrence, but it's not that, it's not like it happens once every 1,000 years. It happens in the big geological time scale of Earth. It happens quite regularly. Like for example, the comet Halley, which is a comet that is not interstellar. That is comet Halley is part of our solar system. And for example, the comet Halley um, orbits around our solar system every 76 years. And the last time he passed by was in 1986, and people could actually see the comet Halley in the night sky. And this comet Halley has been recorded also in the Middle Ages. For example, this is one of the first depictions here. I'm going to show you guys. So you see here in the upper right corner, so that is comet Halley right there. So this is from the Middle Ages, an observation of the comet where people are like, what is this? And it does this every 76 years. So these objects are not that uncommon. They're not, every week, but they're not that uncommon. These are natural objects. So we have the objects that are part of the solar system, then we have the interstellar objects. Also in 1994, and I remember this when I was really young, there was the Schumacher-Levy comet that entered our solar system, and it actually crashed on Jupiter. So let me show you here a few pics of those. Remember, Jupiter is a giant gas planet, and you could see those. So see these brown spots here in the. I don't know if you guys see my mouse arrow
Yeah.
here, but so these brown spots are actually the comet. So it was a string of comets that broke up into. It was a comet that, when it got pulled into the gravitational sphere of Jupiter,
Mhm.
it broke up into several pieces, and so those pieces crashed into Jupiter, which is just crazy, because you can see here these dark spots are the crash, or where the comet crashed. That was in 1994. This is another impact site. So here's another from a different angle. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is the
Wow.
impact of that comet. So, and you got to remember, Jupiter is way bigger than the Earth. So this impact zone here, you see it's quite big. It's probably as big as the Earth. So imagine, if this is Jupiter versus the Earth, so the impact zone is as big as the Earth. So, this stuff happens. This stuff is real. This, and I'm sure in 1994, if this would have happened today, people would have been go all crazy about it. But in 1994, we were less on the conspiracy theories. Like now, people make a big thing out of it and promote that fear factor. And I'm sure we're going to go more into that, promoting of the fear factor of Triad Atlas. I'm sure you too, Meg. I want to say something more about that later.
Can I
But
just add can I add something? Sorry to interrupt you. Just with Jupiter, and I didn't know that. That's so cool that you're bringing that up. I didn't know that some of those spots are caused by, you said comets that hit Jupiter?
it was a comet, yeah.
A comet, yeah. So in astrology, Jupiter, everything in astrology is based off actually like the scientific, mundane aspects of something. And we turn that into the themes and the symbology. So Jupiter is actually the biggest protector to Earth in our solar system. Like you said, Jens, because of the field of Jupiter. If we didn't have Jupiter, we wouldn't be here right now. There would be so much space debris, comets, asteroids, things hitting us all the time. Because of how big Jupiter is and its energetic field, it actually protects us from so much space debris on a regular basis physically that's actually going on. So in astrology, that's why we call Jupiter the divine protector, right? So it represents protection because it literally protects us. I just wanted to add that in because with the spiritual, there's also that connection to the physical, and we have to stay grounded, right? And this is something that you and we've been talking about a lot lately, the need for grounding and discernment during these times where, yes, there are a lot of psyops. Yes, there are a lot of conspiracies. Yes, there are a lot of lies and shit that's not real, but not everything is a negative conspiracy, right? And we need to be very discerning of that. And if you really tune in to Three Eye Atlas, we're not trying to tell you guys what to think, but myself, Jens, many other people, we're actually feeling that really at its core, this is something positive. So sorry to interrupt you. Just wanted to interject that.
No, no problem. Yeah, I do. I don't feel this is in 1994, and let me play this clip here from 1994 on the news when this comet hit Jupiter. It was, of course, a major, and it was just regarded as a natural thing. Look, so let me play this clip here. I don't know if I can bring it up. Yes. Oops.
Astronomers have witnessed 5 massive explosions on the planet Jupiter as fragments from the shoemaker Levy collided with the planet. Larger explosions are expected later this week.
They called it the biggest explosion in the solar system for hundreds of years. Half an hour after the first comet fragment went in, the impact was still visible. The cloud of debris spread out for thousands of miles and was over 1,000 miles high. The astronomers were jubilant.
We're going to see things and we're going to learn a lot. That's the good news tonight.
See how different it is in our times, with the fear in our times. It's like, promoting that fear. It's like, if I'm sure if this would have happened in our times, the conspiracy theorists would go wild. And I'm a conspiracy theorist. And like Meg said,
Right.
we need to stay grounded too, right? Like these things happen and not everything is negative. So
Right.
also what I want to share is, before maybe we switch over to Meg more for the astrology, is and I'm going to talk more about this in the latter part of the show of how there's a plan for a fake alien threat from space.
Mhm.
Let's save that for the last part of the show. But where does this come from? And this theory comes from Avi Loeb. This is an Israeli physicist. This guy here. I'm going to bring him up. So he actually launched that whole theory, and the whole conspiracy community ran with it. He also did the same thing for the other asteroid or interstellar object called Umama. That was like in 2000 and was it 17?
17.
That 17 that came in. So he launched this, and he actually suggested it might be an alien hostile object. Now, why would he do this? And as we're going to go more into the end of the show, is there might be a plan to make us scared of the universe, like this external threat. Like it's always
Right.
about fear. Terrorists. Asteroids that are going to come in, aliens. So I'm not comfortable with people pushing this fear narrative around this. And this guy is the originator of it. And if we look at his history, well, I kind of did a little, checking on him. And he is actually, he was part of the Israeli Defense Force at age 18 because he was selected as part of what is called the Talpiot program. And the Talpiot program is a program in Israel where they actually test all the kids in school for their intelligence. And only the brightest are selected into that program and are actually trained then by the Israeli Defense Force. And they basically pay their whole scientific career. So he got his PhD from that university, and his career was basically paid for by the Israeli Defense Force, his education. So, and then also he worked from 1983 to 1998. He led the first international project supported by the US Strategic Defense Initiative. Now, the US Strategic Defense Initiative is basically the military industrial complex. So this guy has deep ties to the military industrial complex. So, maybe not a coincidence that this guy is pushing the fear narrative, because the military industrial complex has a lot to gain with pushing the fear narrative of an external threat from space, so they can expand their space force, right? They can expand their military satellites in space and all that stuff. So there's more to this, of course, as we will go into later in the show. But I just want to throw that out there, is be very discerning. Anyway, maybe switch a little bit to the astrology now. I'm quite curious because what is, for example, I don't know if you want to start with that. What is the significance of Triae Atlas coming so close to Mars and to Jupiter? Is there any significance to it, or?
I think there's a huge significance, and I personally do not believe in coincidences. I think everything has meaning. And first, want to just backtrack 1 second to a couple more of just the basic things about it, and then I'll answer that question, Yancy. So 3I Atlas is the third interstellar object in recent history. As you said, we had Oumuamua in 2017. We had 2I Boris in 2019. 3I Atlas was discovered supposedly on July 1st, 2025. It's said to be 5.6 kilometers in diameter and 33 billion tons. So this is a big object. This is a big ass object that we've got going woo really fast through our solar system. It crossed, when it entered our solar system, somewhat close to Pluto, but extremely close to Mars, almost hitting Mars. And when it exits out of our solar system, it will also get, and let me show you guys this from the skylive.com, which is a fantastic astronomy website. It is all, oh, let's get rid of that guy. We don't want to see that guy. Why can't I show this here? Here we go. It's going to almost hit Jupiter as well. So closest to Mars out of all of the planets, if you take a look here, this is from the skylive.com, looking like, oh my, holy shit, it's almost going to hit Mars. Oh my God. So we're at that right now. Right now, as we're filming this, beginning of October 2025, 3I Atlas is conjunct Mars. I'll talk about that significance. Then we see it goes behind the sun, perihelion, end of October, going to be closest to Earth, December 19th, 2025. And then, oh my God, it looks like it's going to freaking hit Jupiter. Look at that. And then just going to miss Jupiter ever so slightly and enter Jupiter's orbit before going into the outer planetary range in our solar system on, I think it's March 25th, 2025. So there's also, I want to give a shout out to Carrie Cassidy and Deva Sereda, who they've been doing some really in-depth content, I think over on their channels. There's a video Carrie Cassidy and David Sereda did on Rumble. 3I Atlas is not a comet. Now, I don't agree with everything that they're saying about it, but David Sereda and Carrie Cassidy have done some amazing analysis and brought up the amount of, Yanzi, coincidences, synchronicities of David Sereda. Oh, why are there balloons going off? Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I think it's because you made a certain hand gesture that launches that, and then the camera freezes.
Okay, shoot. Let me fix this.
Go back, yeah, and go back
Okay,
to the.
are we good? Okay, I'll try not to move my hands around like crazy. But David Sereda gets into how and he's really good at like the mathematical calculations between things in astronomy. There's angles that are similar to the pyramid angles that 3I Atlas is making to different orbits and different comets. It's, closest to Earth, literally at the winter solstice and on a new moon. Its perihelion is around the time of Samhain, Halloween, which is a very sacred object. When it gets into Jupiter's orbit is actually around Easter and the ascension dates. And so I just recommend checking out that video. It's very, very interesting. So it feels like this may have been planned, that this is not a happenstance, right? that this is something that is coming into our solar system. Here's a possibility, because there's just way too much synchronicity when you look at it's about to hit Mars, it's almost hit Jupiter. There's all these mathematical degree separation that it's too much to be a coincidence. Actually, the likelihood, let me bring up a stat here that I think David Sereda said. The likelihood that this is a natural mathematical possibility of how everything 3i Atlas is going to do and its approach to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter is 0.005%. That this is natural, that this is just a coincidence, right? So using common sense, probably not a coincidence. So then the question is, okay, is it a comet? Is it an asteroid? Is it a craft? If it is being used, who is using it, right? We know in spirituality that we are not the only ones alive in this universe, right? To think that we are the only ones here in this universe is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. And in all ancient teachings, it talks about how we're connected to star families, all the different indigenous teachings. We have star families. We are made of the stars. We have star brothers and sisters that are watching out for us. So my personal intuitive take, while also looking at the astrology, which I'll get into, and the astronomical, like common sense, is this is way too much to be a coincidence. And I feel like this is our star family. This is our cosmic connection supporting us as we enter the age of Aquarius at this very, very critical time. Anything you want to add there, Yenzi, before I go on?
Yeah, I personally don't want to pinpoint myself to what it exactly is. I mean, it may be a comet, for example, with aliens inside. Who knows? It may be both. Like
Right.
it could be a comet and a spaceship at the same time. But what I felt like during the meditations we did in preparing for the show, I felt totally what you were saying here. And I'm not saying this because Meg's saying it. I'm really saying this because I felt it in my meditation. As I feel this thing, whatever it is, it's very positive. I felt a really positive energy from it. Now, people might not agree. This is my own perception of it. It felt like it carried a lot of light, in my opinion, just a lot of general positive energy. Now, it wouldn't surprise me that some people might want to paint it as dark, because inversion is a thing, right? We all know how they want to invert the good and then say like the sun is bad. They invert the good and then they say the sun is bad, and now they say that interstellar object is bad. So I think there might be some inversions going on, as we know those as Meg calls the dark arts people like to do. But I feel it's positive. I totally concur.
Yeah, and I like Jens and I, we just kind of go with the flow when we do our videos. I'm just feeling to say right now, and I don't know if you'd want to share, Jens, what you also got in your meditation, but right before we started recording this video, Jens and I did separate meditations to connect to, okay, what do we feel about 3i Atlas intuitively? And as soon as I went into meditation, I felt like I was on 3i Atlas going very fast through the solar system. And I got this very strong sense, almost like it's a energetic vacuum cleaner going through the solar system, that it has a high vibration, that it's something that we have never seen anything like this before. This is something that's completely new. Felt like it came from really far away, which we know it came from really far away. It's interstellar. And it is what I'm picking up at least, is it is cleansing out, I'm going to use the word very nefarious and darker energies that have been not just on Earth, but influencing our solar system for a very long time. And this is something that we know there are darker forces, whether you want to call them dark entities, ETs, dark arts people, whatever. There's a darker force on Earth that has been trying to control humanity and influencing humanity, right? And it's got us in a really messed up place. So just what I was feeling in the meditation, it feels like a spiritual vacuum cleaner. And I was up on 3i Atlas, kind of like riding it, almost like I was surfing it. And then I went down to Earth, and there was this being that felt like a guardian, a very old, wise spiritual guardian, that then showed a very long list of names, like maybe 100 names or dozens and dozens of names. And I got a sense that whoever these people are on this list, they're being taken off the Earth from these frequencies. So that was interesting. That came through. Then I went back up to Three Eye Atlas and kept getting the strong sense that this is cleansing. And also a message came through of the importance at this time of detoxification on the physical, emotional, and mental, spiritual levels. I think we're going to feel, as this continues to travel through our solar system, get closest to the sun at the end of October, get closest to Earth at the end of December, we're going to be noticing that we're going through even more of a detoxification process. So I was getting like an intuitive message of the importance of eating as clean as possible, drinking things as clean as possible, making our health a priority, which makes sense with the astrology right now. Because at least what I'm getting from this intuitively and astrologically is this Three Eye Atlas is something here to help humanity at this time with our shift into the age of Aquarius, and it is bringing in very strong purification frequencies. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel I agree with you 100%. You know, I got more of a general like the general impression was really light. I felt light, so which is congruent, which is you know, there is a lot of positivity, a lot of light coming from it. Like in a way like cleansing, like you say, because light is cleansing, right? Light is cleansing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I fully agree. I don't feel, and if there would be anything negative about it, I definitely what I did feel is that there are a lot of negative projection on it. But that's creation by our human minds and by the conspiracy community who,
Right.
but also we got to address this fear sells, and it sells in the media and it sells in the conspiracy community. Fear
Mhm.
sells. People do these, you know, clickbait titles and you know it's going to destroy us, or the dark asteroid is coming, like all that stuff, like you know, and people buy it. That's what fear sells, because people buy it, right? Because why does it work? Because people are more attracted sometimes in the conspiracy community to fear and to positive messages. So we got to look at ourselves too.
We have been in fear. We have been in, and Yancy, you're better at describing this stuff than me, but like that reptile part of the brain, we have been in the fight or flight. We have been in fear. We have been in war for so long during this past dark astrological age that, of course, that's what sells. And of course, that's what drops people in. But if you look at this from the astrological, spiritual point of view of what's going on, we are entering a light age right now. These darker energies are being cleansed from the planet. And at a certain point, when we're fully in the age of Aquarius, they will not be here. Right. So I totally agree with you what you're saying, that it's also the detoxification of not just cleansing our physical body, cleansing what we consume. Everything, the information we're consuming, the news, the podcasts, the music, the TV shows, the entertainment, everything, the people in our lives, everything. So I'm just getting this very strong sense we're going through a mass purification with this Three Eye Atlas, also with the astrology of what's going on. And to touch on what you brought up, Jens, about what's the significance of it being closest to Mars out of all the other planets, and Jupiter as well. It's interesting because Mars is the planet in astrology that rules war and conflict and survival mode, right? It's one of the malefic planets that rules some of the darker sides of nature of humanity, what we've really been in for a very long time. So it's interesting that Three Eye Atlas is so close to Mars right now as we're speaking. I think cleansing, upgrading, uplifting the energy of it. Because we've been in so many wars in recent history. It's just been war after war, conflict after conflict, battle after battle, battles within ourselves. And then it's interesting that when it leaves, starts to, exit out, when it hits Jupiter's orbit and almost hits Jupiter, Jupiter is that divine protector again. And it's the planet of expansion and wisdom and clarity and opportunity, luck, abundance. So maybe we could have something very miraculous or positive happen for the world and humanity around March and April when he's closest to Jupiter. Really, really interesting. Um, what do you feel, Jens, about the perihelion, which is the point that Three Eye Atlas is closest to the sun, is on October 29th, 2 days before Halloween Samhain? Do you have any feelings around that?
Well, as you say, there are no coincidences, and I feel Halloween has also been inverted, right? Because it has
Yeah.
actually a very beautiful, how they call it, Samhain. I don't know
Samhain,
how
yeah.
to pronounce it, like that, Samhain. It was actually a very sacred Celtic Druidic time, and they've inverted it to, like, to, like, with Hollywood movies, especially to dark stuff, gore. But it's actually a time, and I'm sure it's more of your background, your shamanic background, Meg. You can speak a lot more on this than I. It's a
Mhm.
time when the veils are most thin, so it's a time where there's more connection to the spiritual realms, or also to the after death worlds, to the spirits, to the ancestors, and it's actually a positive time. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily negative. It might have maybe more some shadow aspects because we're more closely connected to the ancestors, but
Yeah.
and I feel like maybe, as we're saying that this interstellar object is positive, it's also gonna uplift those frequencies a little bit, and it may help us, counteract the all the dark stuff that comes from Hollywood at that time. And
Mhm.
Halloween, I mean, it's people love spooky season, and we can't be afraid of the dark. We need to integrate it, but we need to realize that Halloween has become like mostly a totally commercial thing, with a dark spin on it for some, especially for
Yeah.
Hollywood. It's actually a sacred time. So I love that this, in my sense, positive object is gonna pass by right by it at that time.
I think it's so cool, and I totally resonate and love with everything that you're saying, and yeah, it is a time where, as you said, the veils are at their thinnest. Samhain, the traditional name, which in Celtic means summer's end, is the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So it's one of the sacred midpoints in the calendar of the year of the ancient Celtic people. In Mexico, they have the Day of the Dead. There's also other traditions that celebrate around that time. And one of the things it represents is also our ancestors and those that are crossed over on the other side. And, our ancestors and respecting our elders and ancestors is something that we've lost in modern society, right, Yenzi? Like respecting those who have come before, those who have protected us and taken care of us, and the elders that have the wisdom. This is something that we've really lost that I think needs to come back. And, not only is Samhain Halloween a good time to connect to those that have crossed over, remember them. I like to make an ancestors altar, putting pictures on an altar, objects that my ancestors enjoyed, foods that they liked, talking with them, praying with them, doing things that they like, connecting with their energy. I think this Samhain Halloween can be very powerful for us to connect to our star ancestors, our star family, because we are not just physical beings living on Earth. We are souls having human experiences. And many of us have lived on different planets. I think we are not just of this Earth, right? We are cosmic beings. And so I think it can be a beautiful time for that. And to bring up the astrological chart of October 29th, this is when, again, it's perihelion, when Three Eye Atlas is closest to the sun, right? Very special astrology during this time. We've got the moon on that day, October 29th, conjunct Pluto. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, will be in Scorpio season by the end of October. A stellium of planets in Scorpio. Pluto and Scorpio are all about revealing secrets, revealing deep research, deep information coming forward. In the sign of Aquarius, and this is going to be a very big theme, Aquarius deals with ETs, UFOs, space, our space history, our star ancestors. Who are we really? Also, Aquarius is one of the two signs in astrology ruled by Saturn. Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn, which rules with our history. So I'm going to make a prediction here at this time that around when we have Three Eye Atlas closest to the sun, conjunct the sun from our Earth's perspective, there's going to be something major, or maybe multiple things, revealed about our true history here on Earth. Also revealed about maybe our connections to ETs, our star family as well. I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be very, very powerful. We've also got, and it's within the portal of Samhain, Halloween. And look at this, there's a grand water trine, very special aspect between Mars and Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn and Neptune. 5 planets in a grand water trine, which is a very positive aspect. These water signs that these planets are in deal with our intuition, the spiritual realm, dreams, our emotions. Will be highly psychically sensitive at this time. And I think a lot of people will be receiving downloads, psychic information, having major intuitive development at this time as well. And around this day of October 29th, the days before and after and the day of, there's several Mercury aspects going on. Mercury trine Saturn, Mercury opposite Uranus, Mercury sextile Pluto. Mercury is all about information and truths. So I'm really excited for this point of perihelion because I think we're going to have huge world ET truths being revealed. Jens, what do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it actually, but we got to be careful. We got to be careful for the spin, of course, because
Of
I feel
course.
like they will always try to spin it, especially when it comes through the more official channels. That I feel first we'll get a spin, and then we'll get
Mm-hmm.
the truth more. But
Mm-hmm.
first will come the spin, just as I think there's a spin on this Three Atlas object. I think there's a spin on it. So the people in control, the cabal, they want to control the way we perceive reality, right? So
Yes.
they're always going to try to invert reality to make us see it in a way that fits their agenda. So they can
Mm-hmm.
use existing things, they can take existing things and invert it. So they can, for example, say of Tria Atlas, it's dark. They can say, for example, if they feel that wave is there and they have to move with the waves of the universe and they move with the astrology, they know, okay, humanity is more and more ready for this disclosure of extraterrestrial life. If
Yeah.
they're gonna try to capitulate on that wave and gonna try to
Mhm.
insert their view of reality into our minds as we're riding that wave of awakening. So that is something we always have to be skeptical of. Yes, I applaud, and I'm sure it's going to happen. I mean, it's written in the stars, literally, that we're going to be more open and that we're going to learn more about, our true cosmic history, the truth about extraterrestrial life. But we got to be very discerning and very aware of the spin.
Definitely. And that shows up in the Western astrology as well. During this time, when we get to actually on October 22nd, 2025, Neptune re enters the sign of Pisces for one last time from end of October until end of January. We've been going through, and I harp on this on my channel. So many of you guys, if you've been following me, you've already heard me talk about this a lot, but I will say it again because it's so important. We have been going through Neptune as the strongest outer planet since 2013 when he entered his home sign of Pisces, which is beautiful for spiritual awakening. So many people have been waking up, right? We've seen since December 21st, 2012, and then Neptune entered Pisces in 2013. So many people have been waking up. There's been a spiritual renaissance, right? But the dark side of it is Neptune and Pisces rules illusions, lies, confusion, deception, mind control, brainwash, also paranoia and fear and mental illness. So we're at a point where, yeah, a lot of people have been waking up, but we're kind of screwed up right now. Let's be honest. As a collective, there's major mental health issues, right? From the amount of discord, the amount of the addiction to technology and the screens. Neptune rules the screens. So this may sound kind of crazy, Yenzi, and I'd like to hear your take on this, and I don't want this to happen, but just saying, I think there's a possibility here astrologically that there may be some forces around this time, October, November, December, that try to, whether it's through a screen or through some deceptive technology, show something in the sky that's not actually really there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Project Bluebeam. It's been
Okay.
known in conspiracy theory circles where they can actually project things in the sky.
Yeah.
They can create illusions. They have working craft already. They have anti-gravity craft, 100% for sure. If you study the material, I've read all about it for 20 years. The amount of evidence that they're in possession of technology that is anti-gravity technology. They could emulate a fake extraterrestrial invasion tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that's why I also said we got to be aware of the spin, because they're gonna these people, they are actually occultists, right? They are dark occultists, and they use astrological portals as a way to most efficiently influence human consciousness to their advantage. So that's why
Right.
they can play with illusions. They choose certain dates. Everybody knows like certain dates like 9/11. It's not a coincidence, right? Because they
Mhm.
choose, it's numerology, it's astrology, and all that. It's also very technological because there's a
Mm.
confusion within these elite circles of technology and occultism. You see that with the recent AI, like Project Stargate, 500 billion for AI, um, to kind of summon this AI superhuman intelligence and stuff. It's basically a kind of magical practice, right? Summoning this. Even Elon Musk said AI is summoning the demon. He literally said
Right.
that. So that's what they're doing. So we got to be very aware of that. And I think your observation is very astute, Mick, especially if the astrology shows it. The illusion. So that's why we got to be careful. We got to always be discerning. Even like we said, also in the case of Three Eye Atlas.
Mhm. And it's crazy how it all shows up. And again, I don't want this to happen. I'm just saying this is a possibility here, okay? Governments, Saturn, or powerful people, Saturn, conjunct Neptune, using something deceptive to try to show a narrative that's not real, right? To hold us back. But the truth is, like you said, Jens, it's written in the stars. There's also something really special going on astrologically that I want to get to. A couple things actually that even from the astrological sense show that there's not something negative coming here to screw with us. There's not like a ship of negative ETs that are going to come and it's going to be the end of the world. That's I don't see that. But first, I just want to bring up, everything has an astral. So any object, planet, asteroid, whatever, has meaning in astrology, right? It rules different aspects of life. It has a symbological meaning. So in astrology, we believe every space object has meaning and spiritual significance. Right now, we're living in a very cool time of discovery into what is Three Eye Atlas energetically all about. And this is so cool because right now we have Uranus, the planet that rules ETs in outer space, in a new sign of Gemini, out of his fall position in Taurus. And myself and many other astrologers, before this transit started in July, we were talking about there's going to be major development and new phenomena having to do with space, things that we've never seen before, like Three Eye Atlas. Upon Three Eye Atlas's exit out of our solar system, us astrologers will be looking back at what occurred during this time when it was closest to Earth, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and how do we feel about it? And in the future, there will be astrology books written about the astrological significance of Three Eye Atlas. So we don't exactly have that yet, and I think that that's so cool, Jens, that we're in this time of discovery. And it's okay to not know all the answers. Like you said at the beginning of the show, after I shared what I felt in the meditation, you were like, I'm not going to say exactly what I think it is. And I think that's good. I'm just sharing what I'm feeling. We're in a point of discovery, and it's important to stay open because there's going to be new things that we're going to learn about it during its travels, right? So two things I want to mention in regards to how this is pointing to this is actually a really positive thing, most likely. Okay. So, number one, Three Eye Atlas is coming at us or coming at our solar system from the direction of something called galactic center. Okay. It's coming from around 27 degrees of Sagittarius in Western astrology, which is the galactic center, and ending up at around 10 degrees of Cancer. I heard that from the Leo King. Shout out to David Palmer. He recently did an awesome lecture on Three Eye Atlas called Bringers of the Dawn on his website. I highly suggest it. Jens, what is the galactic center? How would you describe that? The spiritual significance of that for people that maybe haven't heard of it, because it's something very, very important. And the fact that Three Eye Atlas is coming from the heart of our Milky Way galaxy galactic center.
Yeah, like the galactic center, they say actually in the galactic center there's a huge, a gigantic black hole, which basically holds the space together of the structure of our Milky Way. And
Mhm.
black holes are actually, in my opinion, they got a bad rap too. Black holes, because they're like displayed as these all-consuming monsters that you can't escape from. But actually, I remember reading a book of Michael Rhodes. He passed away, I think, almost year and a half ago. One of my
Mm.
favorite writers. I visited his 5-day intensives in the Netherlands. An amazing guy, and he had the ability to travel the universe in his light body. And there's a lot of people who could claim that, but I think he's the real deal. I just, follow my intuition in this. And he actually went into a black hole, and he talks about it in one of his books, amazing books, which I really recommend. He travels the multiverse basically, and he says that black holes are actually positive, and there were some aspects to black holes he couldn't actually explain intellectually because it was just beyond our human comprehension. But he said it like moves space and it holds things together, and it's also they are also portals. So they are basically, it's the center of your universe. And I feel nothing but positivity, and I want to say that this like an experience I had this summer, about our Milky Way. So I was sitting outside in Canada in the countryside, and I was looking at the universe, and I felt connected to the Milky Way. So our system that we're in, so our Milky Way galaxy that we are in, and I could feel, and it was, I can't put it into words, but it was just a feeling, and I really felt it so strongly in that moment. It was actually a magical experience, a mystical experience, and I felt that our Milky Way is a living being. It is a being, and all the stars are part of its body, and it is benign. It is absolutely benign. The universe is benign. Our Milky Way, I felt our Milky Way. Our Milky Way is a benign being. We are living in a benign being. So all these, all that fear-based narrative, it's just an illusion. It's illusion. The truth about the universe is that it's light, it's love. Yes, there are dark people on the earth, and yes, we have light and dark here on this planet, but we are not living in a dark universe. I truly felt in my heart, and this is something, a totally subjective experience, but I know in my heart it is the truth, is we are living in a living being. Everything is alive. Like Meg said, Tria Atlas is a living being, or whatever it is, but it has consciousness. Everything has consciousness. Every star, every planet, even the universe, the Milky Ways, the galaxies have consciousness. And in my experience, at least what I felt from our Milky Way, it's absolutely positive and benign. So I feel nothing but positive energy from that. Connected, if it's coming from the galactic center, it's benign in my opinion.
It's said to be in many traditions the most sacred part of our Milky Way galaxy, the galactic center. It's the heart of our galaxy, right? And if you think about our physical heart, that's where we expand love. Our heart is way more than just an organ. They talk about that with the Heart Math Institute, specializes in that. Greg Braden talks a lot about this. Our hearts are so powerful, and there's a field emanating from our heart of pure love, right? And like you said, life is love, the universe is love. So the fact that, okay, this is coming from the heart of our Milky Way galaxy, that's the direction it's coming in, okay? And also, as we enter the age of Aquarius, we actually get closer to the galactic center. We travel through something called the photon band, which we are now in, where we're in 2,000 years of light. And the photon band, I'm sure some of you guys have heard of that before. It's a little bit technical, but it's a high frequency band of light that our solar system enters as it moves through the galaxy. And, in spirituality, in the metaphysical world, we say that as we go through the photon band in this great astrological cycle into a light age, our consciousness raises, we're going through an ascension, our DNA is getting activated, we go through enhanced psychic abilities and cleansing and purification, right? So these are some pictures kind of displaying that technically. So 3i Atlas, it's like, okay, in alignment with the coming of the age of Aquarius, and also back to the Western astrology. This is a chart for today as we're filming this video, Jens and I, on October 8th. We've got this very, very special astrological aspect going on called a magic triangle, or a minor grand trine, between the three outermost planets, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. See how they're making this triangle? Can you see that, Jens?
Yes.
Right? And actually, end of August, beginning of September, it was almost exact. They were all at the same degree in air and fire signs. So Pluto is sextile Neptune, also Saturn. trine Uranus. Uranus is trine Pluto, sextile Neptune, and Neptune is in sextiles to both Pluto and Uranus. The three outermost planets that deal very much with things from the other realm, the spirit world, ETs, outer space. They're all in extremely positive aspects together. I see this as a major indicator of this is a time of highly positive and benefic spiritual divine intervention and high vibration things having to do with helping humanity at this time. So this is like very, very special. I don't even know the last time in history that we would have had something like this. We want to look at when it comes to, okay, is there something nefarious and very dark that's going on? We want to look at the malefic planets. And Pluto is the most malefic planet. He's in only positive aspects to the outer planets. So I'm not buying into this narrative that this three-eye atlas has anything to do with something at its core very nefarious that wants to hurt humanity. Like you said, Jens, there's definitely projections being put on it that this is something to be feared and a possible fake alien invasion. But if you look at it from the astrological sense, it actually looks like the complete opposite. And very interesting, Pluto in Aquarius, the sign that rules outer space and ETs, in trine to Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. This is going to be exact next year. And again, there's just this theme continued of major truths being revealed. Sorry, you guys, excuse me. We sneeze when truth is spoken, about humanity and ETs and our space origins and family. So this is going to develop and it shows in the astrology. And I'm just really, really excited for these times. Is there anything that you feel, Jens, about that magic triangle aspect pattern between the outermost planets? I mean, it's very, very special.
There seems to be a lot of special patterns going on. We're in special times, and I'm open to to the unexpected and the positivity too. I'm discerning, and I know we got to be careful, but I'm also careful in the sense that we have to be discerning. But I'm also open to positive things happening. We have to, right? We have to. Otherwise, what's life for, right? If we can't expect positive things, it's not all doom and gloom. They want to make it seem so, but life is also, what I felt from the Milky Way. It's so beautiful, so amazing. So we got to focus on that too. Like, cut the crap with the fear. We are here. We are souls. We're living in this amazing, amazing universe of light, of love, and truth. And I'm open to positive things happening also.
Yeah, definitely. And many of you will know, maybe some of you are newer viewers that don't know, that Jens and I, we are not spiritual bypassers. Okay. We are not spiritual people that are just like, it's all love and light. Focus on the love and light. Don't be negative. Jens and I are truth speakers. We speak out on things that have been going on in the world. Okay. We go very deep into the rabbit holes. And when there is something dark, we will be honest about that, right? Which can be triggering to people. But in this case, it's not what we're picking up on. I'm actually feeling really excited about this. And, we can stargaze Three-Eye Atlas November through December. And you can, if you want to, do that and use your discernment connecting with it and seeing what you feel yourself. I know Jens and I are going to be doing that. Also, just wanted to bring up, before we finish up, and Jens, I'll ask you if there's anything else that you want to bring up, the Blue Star Kachina Hopi prophecy. Is this something, Jens, that you've ever heard of before?
I've heard of it, but I'm not quite familiar with it.
Okay. So I want to be really respectful because I'm not a Hopi person. I don't know the exact teachings or anything like that, but I know since we're spiritualists, we work in this field. I've heard about this prophecy called the Blue Star Kachina from the Hopi people. And it speaks of a blue star that will show up in the sky when we are basically at the time of the last major purification at the end of the fourth world, which we have been in. So I find it interesting that, there's pictures of Three-Eye Atlas as different colors, right? But some of them have been coming through as blue. And I'm very curious to see what exact colors it'll look like when it's closest to Earth in December. And I'm curious if we have any Indigenous people out there, anybody that knows a lot about the Hopi prophecy. What do you think? Do you think that Three Eye Atlas is tied to the Blue Star Kachina prophecy? I think it's really interesting. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's
So
an interesting conjecture. It might be. I have no idea, but it might be.
it might be. And there's actually a video. Let me just bring this up here to show you guys. Well, there's many different videos. If you go onto YouTube or whatever, you can listen to Indigenous prophecies. The other day, it was this one. I was listening to this one over on YouTube. It's 46 minutes long, but it's a Hopi elder. This one here. If you type in Hopi prophecy, it's like the second thing that comes up. He was filmed in the 70s talking about the Hopi prophecy of the timeline splitting off, which I think is a different one, right? The timeline of the destruction and the survival of humanity, right? Are you going to choose materialism, or are you going to choose the spiritual connection, natural connection again? This was filmed in the 70s, and if you guys watch this, it's going to blow your freaking mind at things that he said then that have happened since the 70s. So these prophecies are real. I believe these Indigenous prophecies are real, and they're something important to pay attention to. And that's something I'd actually like to do more on my channel, is actually interviewing. Hopefully there's some elders that will be open to me interviewing them. I want to bring in more of the prophecy work and the Indigenous teachings, because I think it's really, really important. So, yeah, before we finish up, Jens, is there anything else that you want to bring up on the subject of Three Eye Atlas at this time?
Yes, there was one more clip I actually wanted to show, and it's actually puts this whole thing, like we were saying, into perspective a little bit. And this is a clip of Dr. Carol Rosen. And Dr. Carol Rosen was a close aide, confident scientist of the late Wernher von Braun. And as most people know, Wernher von Braun was actually a Nazi rocket engineer, a genius of rocketry. I mean, he basically invented modern rocketry, and he was brought over to the United States through Project Paperclip. And I'm going to bring him up here. This is the guy, and so he became head of the it's there. He became head of NASA through Project Paperclip, and in that position, not NASA, but a sub-organization of NASA, and in that position, he learned a lot about the plans of the deep state. And on his deathbed, because he died of cancer, on his deathbed, he said to Dr. Carl Rosen, "They're gonna try to scare us to put weapons in space and to control basically humanity." And he said the first scare, and she said this before 9/11, 2001. I'm going to show you the evidence, the video. The first scare will be terrorists. She said the second scare will be asteroids, and the third scare will be aliens. So now I'm thinking like, okay, she's like right on the money, because we've had terrorists, of course, and now they're starting to say, like with Umama and this Three Eye Atlas, like it's a scary thing. So let me play that clip here. It's actually very relevant what she's saying.
Good morning. My name is Carol Rosen. In 1974, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." He said, "No, you have to understand. This is February, and we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies," he said, "against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids." And then he would repeat to me over and over, "And the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat." Well,
so you see here, so she basically, predicted it all, and this is even before 9/11. This is 25 years ago now, this speech. And this is what Wernher von Braun relayed to her. So I'm immediately making this link, right? These two asteroids that were said to be negative, I think this is part of the plan to scare us. So to close this from my end, is, we got to focus on the positive. Go out, watch the stars, and really feel. If you do it like I felt, you will feel the positivity of the universe, the amazing universe we live in. The fact that I think it's an illusion that the universe is dark. That we're sometimes, no, it's beautiful, it's amazing, and let's connect with that, and let's not buy into these fear-based programs and fear-based narratives.
I totally agree with you. Definitely. And thank you so much, Jens, for doing this video with me. This is going to be posted on both of our YouTube and Rumble channels. And please remember, you guys, to leave a comment if you'd like to help with our channel's growth. Press like, subscribe to our channels. We really appreciate it. You can check out all our links in our description box below. Jens, of course, has his amazing new 14 Days to a Higher Vibration course available. Link is below. And your launch sale ends on October 21st. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. And also want to give a shout out to the Scorpling Shop, my best friend Sunny from Pluto and I's online crystal and astrology boutique. We have new Halloween 12 sign zodiac pinup shirts available, not made by AI. Okay, yes, these are our AI models, but all the art is original, made by Sunny. She's very talented. And we've got unisex, all kinds of different sizes. As well as, since we're on the topic of outer space and ETs, we do sell Moldavite, different space gems, Libyan desert glass. We still have a lot of our starseed crystal collection available over on thescorplingshop.com. So thank you all so much for joining us. We're sending lots of cosmic love your way, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.